You may have first seen my next guest lighting up the stage on Sunday Best. Since then, she's been setting the gospel music world on fire with her dynamic vocals and prolific lyrics. I know you've been inspired by her and her journey, and she's here today. Welcome, Niiella.
Hi.
Hello. Fancy seeing you here, Londoner.
Yeah.
Niiella, we don't have much time, and you know we could go for 2 hours.
We really could.
What you're like, but you've had such a remarkable journey. Whatever chapter we decide to focus on, whether the teenage years or the TV years or now the motherhood years, if you were to describe your transformation in one sentence, what would it be?
I would say butterfly. It would be one word, and I would use the word butterfly.
Explain that.
Well, I think just looking at who I was, you know, like you said, we don't have time to go into all the things, but just looking at who I was from childhood to now, I feel like I've changed so much and evolved, literally like a butterfly. First as a caterpillar, and then it blossoms and it becomes this beautiful, you know, butterfly. And since I was young, I was obsessed with butterflies.
Oh, wow.
And I never knew why, and now I feel like I do, you know, because of how life has
I went to a butterfly sanctuary just last week.
Really?
So, I loved it.
I don't actually like insects.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, let's move on then. Ghana. You've talked about how you were shipped out to Ghana at a certain stage in your life. That moment of being shipped out to Ghana, how do you see that? How do you read that? How do you process that period?
Well, as much as at the time it was an awful experience because, you know, me and my siblings didn't want to be in Ghana. We thought we were going to go visit our dad and return to the UK. But, you know, our documents went missing. And then we basically ended up having to stay in Ghana for an extended period of time. The way I look at it now, I'm just grateful that my mum even did that. I know it's a crazy story, but I'm grateful that she took us out there because I really was losing myself.
So for those who are not familiar, give us a quick run through of the story of what Mummy did.
So at that time, I just dropped out of college, UK college, you know, which is like the latter part of high school here, I think. So I just dropped out of college because I was, every time my grades were just dipping. At that point in my life, I was like, I started to figure out, or I had been in quite a few relationships. I was like 17 or so, but I was drowning in depression and to the point of starting to have suicidal ideations. Like it was getting worse and worse. And I think my mum, being who she is, being prophetic, being a pastor and everything, probably just looked at me and just didn't know, like, was at her wit's end, you know? And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when I got arrested for shoplifting. And I know, wild story. And that's like the craziest thing I ever did. And I think at that point she was like, what is happening to you? So she was like, we're gonna go visit your dad. You know, he was praying in Ghana for a little bit. So she was like, we're gonna go visit your dad. So I went to Ghana, and then when we got there, you know, typical African mum style. 2 weeks are over, we think, okay, we're about to return to the city because it was like on a mountain, literally. It was on a prayer mountain, you know, like, yeah. And then we call her, we're like, oh, we're ready to come back now. And she says, if you don't find Jesus on that mountain, you're not coming back and I'm not coming to pick you. And we were like, what? Whoa. So, you know, long story short, me and my older brother ran away from the mountain. It was just crazy. Like, I could do a whole movie on it. And then we ended up back in the city. And at that point, we didn't go back to the UK, but we all came to an agreement. Us, mum, we were like, don't send us anywhere we don't want to go. At least we'll stay in the city, but let's just all be cool. And everyone just chill. So we all chilled. And then eventually I ended up doing a competition in Ghana.
Let's talk about that competition of Stars of the Future. Now, Stars of the Future was a big break for you, but then you made a peculiar choice of route after it. You decided gospel, not the route that was...
Yeah.
Why? And looking back at that, what do you think?
So because even though in my teenage years I was now questioning, you know, I grew up a pastor's kid, so always been in church and everything, but in my teens I started to question, you know, why do we do what we do? I have other friends that don't go to church, they look happier than me, you know? So I was like, what's the essence of us going to church this much? Especially like Monday, prayer meeting, Tuesday, ushers meeting, Wednesday, you know, all that. I was just like, I don't really, I started to ask all these questions. And then when I ended up doing the competition, like the one genre of music or type of music that would lift me out of the depression, even if it was for some hours or some moments, was gospel or Christian music. So after the competition, when it came to me making a choice, I've always been a very like emotional, you know, even though I would hide it, very emotional, very sentimental person. So I had to do something that had meaning to me.
Right.
And to be very honest, the other types of music, I just didn't connect to them. Even though I was like, oh, musically they might be cool or whatever, it was Christian gospel music that would lift me out of that place. And so I was like, I want other people, young people, to feel God's love and feel like they can keep going the way that I would anytime I would listen to Christian music.
So if you had to finish this line, if not for Ghana, what would you say? If not for Ghana...
I don't know where I'd be right now. I don't know what path I would have taken. Okay,
so if you had to describe your teenage years with an emoji, what would the emoji be? Does it exist, or you have to create one?
No, I can see the exact one.
Okay, which one?
It's the one that's like sideways and it's melting. You know, it's like smiling, but it's melting.
Ooh, I've never used that one. I'll have to find that one. So it's sideways and he's not a ghost.
No. It's yellow.
So, Niiella, our time is up, and I hope you would come back to London so we can at least have more time to talk. Because you see, these Americans just keep us locked up. 5 minutes talk, everything is finished. We can't talk anymore.
I didn't say that either. That was him.
I'll be going home soon. But for you, one final thought for you now as a mother? What has this chapter in your life been introduced to your daughter done to your walk with God?
It's made me appreciate God more. Definitely just seeing how, even though she's my child, I feel like I also didn't have a hand in her creation. Like, she's her own person. She started to do her own little quirky things and like giggle and smile. You just see the switch. One day she wasn't smiling, the next she was. You know, one day she wasn't laughing and then the next she was figuring out how to laugh. Now she's trying to sit up at 3 months and go somewhere. So it's just so amazing to see, you know, God's creation for real, like just come to life. And this is one moment I couldn't see her, she was in my stomach, and now she's out and she's doing things. It's just so fascinating.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again.
Thank you.